Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Jake. Jake is from Manchester, in England, in the UK. So let's see what Jake has to say. Enjoy the interview. Yes, I can see you now.
Hello.
Hello, Jake. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, it's a busy day. Business as usual. How are you?
Very good. Yeah, it's good to be busy. I think it's amazing to be busy. Keeps your mind always working and keeps you out of trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely need to be kept out of trouble.
Jake, so tell me, where are you from?
Well, I'm from the UK and currently live in Manchester.
Manchester is the place where you were born and raised?
No, I was born up near Scotland and I live down near Wales and I now live in Manchester with my partner.
Oh, wow. And why they moved to Manchester? Because you're a partner?
Yeah, well, a mixture of that and works here as well. Like I run a company from the UK, and so it was easier to work in this area of the world because it's where the audience that I need to be around is.
It's there. Right. Yeah. So tell me about your company. Tell me a little bit about your career.
Yeah, so I mean, I do a few different things. So I started out as a sort of a I don't know if you can use it because I know this is going on YouTube, so I don't know if you can use the word.
Of course you can.
Porn star. So I do pornography, and I run sort of my own website, which is going to be relaunching soon, which is like a streaming platform. I also recruit people and people who want to do pornography and help them sort of get into the industry safely and help manage their films and directing. And then I also work with a company called Buddy, buddy.net, which is like a kinky social network for gay people. And been doing that for about 6-7 months now. It's going pretty well.
I see. So tell me how you start working for doing adult content, how this journey started.
So I was in a relationship for a while with someone who I really cared about. We're still good friends now. And we ended that relationship and I'd sort of experimented in making OnlyFans for extra money around the time. And our relationship ended, so I was single. I was able to sort of be more free sexually. And I just started meeting up with people who were doing films already or just filming any experiences I had and putting them on the internet. And I got a good response from it. So I decided to sort of move ahead with that. And it sort of took off. I grew a name for myself. I started using a real sort of studio stage name and built a bit of a career from it.
Amazing. Right, so during the game I'm going to explore a little bit more about your career, about your journey doing adult content. Okay,
sure.
Amazing. Before we start our journey within the Magic Box, I would you like you to tell me something interesting about yourself?
I don't know. I guess I'm addicted to working out. I love to work out.
How often do you work out?
I try to work out 4 times a week. It used to be like 5 to 6 times a week. I used to be really overweight in my younger years, and I lost a bunch of weight, and I became addicted to the gym. So, I'll be going to the gym today after this interview, and probably tomorrow. I love working out.
Amazing, very good. Jake, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Sure.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So this is my best friend, okay? From the fun questions, I'm just going to play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question, okay?
Let's do it. Sure.
Okay, Jake, before we start the game, during the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Yeah.
Amazing. First question for you is, what is something you wish you could do every single day?
Oh, I wish I could travel every single day. I love the experience of going to an airport, getting on a plane, going somewhere new, landing, and being somewhere completely new.
Let's say that you have the superpower of traveling somewhere in the world right now. Where would you go?
I'd probably go somewhere hot, probably Benidorm. It's one of my favorite place to go. I love Benidorm. It's just really good atmosphere, lots of fun, always really hot, cheap. I could do what I want there for as little money as I can.
You have any holidays planned so far this year?
Yeah, so coming up, I'll be in Belgium in March for Darklands, which is a big fetish festival, and then I should be heading to Berlin at some point for just Pride, German Pride, and then hopefully America at some point with Buddy, just to sort of explore and have a look at what's going on, you know, in the world, and see if America is a sort of market we'd want to work with, because we're really excited to bring more people onto the app and experiment with new users and share the experience, and then hopefully to Benidorm again with my partner and enjoy ourselves there, and then maybe somewhere for Christmas we'd go, like so, I don't know, like we were thinking of going Reykjavik. Is it Reykjavik? I think in that's where he planned, but he does all the planning for me, so that's where he wanted to go this year just gone, but we weren't able to, unfortunately. So yeah, that's the plan, to go somewhere cold and Christmassy at the end of the year.
Amazing. Okay, next question. Let's do it. Hey, Jake from England. Next question is, how do you make friends?
I don't know, actually. I guess I'm quite social. I just sort of approach people, and I normally compliment people, because that's one of the nicest ways you can sort of begin an interaction, by telling someone what you visually see about them, or the way that they're behaving. You know, if I see someone being really like charismatic, I'll be like, wow, you have amazing energy, like where's it come from? And that normally leads into a conversation. I find that people love to talk about themselves, so I always like to listen to what people have to say about themselves, so like it works well just to listen more than it is to input your own life, and I find that's what I think probably why people struggle making friends, is because they want to talk about themselves, where I find it's much more interesting to ask people about them and learn about them than to talk about yourself.
And tell me, how is being gay in Manchester? Do you feel like safe? It's a good place to be gay. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, really good. Manchester is one of the first places I ever went to, like a big sort of Pride festival event, and it was a really good time. I had an amazing time, and all the events that I go to, the fetish events, and my friends were all from Manchester, so I just decided to move here, and I've never felt safer in the gay village here. I've been to London and I enjoy it, and everyone there's really lovely, and I know a lot of people that work there, but it's a bit complicated. It's a bit like a maze of streets, and you don't really know where, you know, the shops begin and where gay pubs are and stuff, and where like takeaways are. It's kind of a bit of a maze, but it's enjoyable. It's an experience. Whereas like in the gay village in Manchester, it's sort of one big road by the canal, and it's just amazing. So yeah, everything's in one place.
I've been to Manchester a few times, not for the gay pride, but I heard that the gay pride there is very big. Like it's very popular. People go there around the UK.
You should come. You'd have a lot of fun. It's really, really good time.
Absolutely, I will. I'll contact you before. Okay.
Yeah, come down, party with me. I'd have a great time.
Excellent. Let's do it.
I'll make you a deal. Whilst you're dancing, I'm gonna smoke. Am I allowed to smoke on YouTube?
Yeah, absolutely, not a problem.
Basic.
Jake, tell me, in your opinion, what is the most, let's see, what do you like the most about creating adult content, and also what is the most challenging part in your opinion?
I think my favorite thing about it is that I get to express myself and try and make myself feel more confident. But I would say the most challenging part is it sounds ridiculous, but the actual sex aspect in itself, because I experienced a lot of sexual abuse at a young age. And so I struggle with sex in general. And one of the reasons why I do sex as a job is because I'm able to sort of dissociate sex into work. It's like sex becomes a job. It has a meaning and a purpose. Whereas like for me, sex is never really fun. When all my friends go to events and they're in dark rooms and they're playing and they're having fun, I never really have fun. So I reserve that for like private time with my partner, or when I'm filming, which is work. So I sort of separate the two. Sex is one thing, and then sex work is another thing for me.
Thanks for sharing this personal event about being abused as a young
Okay.
age. Do you think that because of that event in your life when you were young, that's why you work in doing adult content? Is something connected with that? Is something for you to kind of heal that part of challenge part of your life?
Maybe. I'm not exactly sure. It's something I explore with my therapist. So I have regular therapy for my issues, and I have a mental health disorder that's built from the trauma that I received, and I'd like I work through it. And I guess part of me is trying to heal that. Part of me is trying to make myself comfortable in it, considering a lot of the gay community is very sort of sexually motivated and charged, which isn't a problem, but a lot of the nights I go to, they're very sort of sexually charged, and I guess it's a way of trying to make myself feel comfortable in those situations. And it's also about control, so like I can control sex in my own life and in what's happening around me, like in these situations, because I'm the director or I'm the person who is going to be bottoming for a scene or something, so I get to control that in that aspect. Whereas before, for those years where I was abused, I didn't have any control at all.
Let's see. All right. Next question is, who are you most thankful for and why?
My mum, for sure. Like,
Oh.
yeah, my mum for sure. Like, my mum is like brilliant person. She's she raised us alone. We escaped a pretty abusive sort of dad, unfortunately. Was not very nice. I'm still in contact with like my dad's side of the family, and everyone's got 50-50 opinions on the situation, as they would. Everyone always defends their blood, but yeah, like from the stories I've heard and what I can remember, like it wasn't very nice. So we escaped that, and my mum always made sure we were happy and had what she could provide to us, and always supported me. I mean, she knows that I do pornography, she knows that I run companies and I manage companies and manage people, and she's very supportive. She doesn't necessarily like that's the career path I've chosen, but I'm her only gay child, and I'm one of 4, so she's quite happy with the grandchildren and stuff that she's got. She doesn't expect any of that stuff from me. She just wants me to be happy. So yeah, she's always been there for me.
Big family.
Yeah. Yeah, three brothers.
all males, all brothers.
All boys.
Oh, you're the first, the youngest, the middle?
Kind of middle. So there's 2 older and then 1 younger.
I see. When you talk about your mom, in your opinion, what's the biggest similarity between you and her, and what's the biggest difference?
I'd say we're both very judgmental. we can normally clock someone's intentions based on like a sort of judging, breaking down their sort of mannerisms and stuff. Like we can figure out what they want straight away, just from looking at them and listening to them. But I'd say where we differ is that she's I want to say closed-minded because that's mean, but like she's not as open-minded to things like as I would be. Like I will definitely figure out a lot more, like to a situation and think of all different aspects of a situation, whereas my mum is like, this is what I think it is, so I'm running with that. She'll stick with it. Like COVID, for example, if she believes it's one thing, she's not going to listen to new evidence. She'd be like, that's it, this is the one thing, like, whereas like I would be like, you know what, I'll listen to all sides and then I'll determine my own opinion.
Amazing. Next question, Jake, let's do it. Next question for you is, if you could ask for a miracle, what that would be?
There's a lot of personal ones. So bringing people back from the dead, obviously, because there's a lot of people that have passed away in my life that I miss dearly. One of which being like one of my partner's parents. Like would love for them to have more time with them. My mum's mum, probably my like best close friend Melissa, who passed away last year. So like, yeah, lots of people to come back and spend more time with them, just to say goodbye to them properly. But if I could have a miracle, I guess it'd just be the sort of maybe the ability to enjoy my life without having constant sort of trip ups along the way. There's like the theme of my life so far just seems to be there's quite a lot of trip ups, you know, like I'll complete one journey and I'm like, wow, I'm finally getting where I want to get, and then something will happen and it will really damage the whole process, and it's like, oh, okay, so I have to finish that and then get back on course and then continue, you know, like I just seem like I'm one step back all the time, you know.
Yeah, I think sometimes or most of the time, life puts us those challenges that are not expecting, and
Yeah.
sometimes drag us in a different direction or make us wondering or try to understand why that's happened. I think those, you know, I'm sure in the future we're going to find some more answers for those questions. And I totally understand. Sometimes you think you're going the right direction, you're very confident, everything's going right, and suddenly something happened. Say you mentioned about your one of your friends that passed away last year, Melissa. Yeah. When you think about her, what's the best memory that comes to your mind?
So we met working together at a cinema company back in Wales, and she's American and she was a lesbian. She married an English lady who lived in the same city as me, and her first job in England was at the cinema, and she was in her sort of like mid-40s when she started working at the cinema, and she was just amazing. Her energy really sort of out there, proper young spirited. And we did a sort of fancy dress day for like movies. We could just dress up as a movie character. And she came in as Chunk from the Goonies, and she brought baby Ruths, and she was like handing them out to people. And I tell her about my life, and I was telling her about a story on this day, and I can't remember what it was about. I think I'd slept with someone who I worked with, and it was someone she'd never thought it would be. And she just turned around, she's like, "Oh, brother," and she just spouted about how ridiculous my life was and how like crazy that she could never like predict what was going to happen next. And yeah, it's just her, like I guess any memory of her talking with me was just brilliant. Like I loved her a lot.
Oh, beautiful. Whatever she's right now, she's smiling now. I listen to you saying that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, she's an atheist and I'm an atheist, so we're probably going nowhere. But either way, she's out there. Like, it would be nice to know that she'd be proud of what I'm up to, because I had some struggles and she had to watch me go through the struggles, and she never lived to see me get sort of to the point where I am now. So I'm hoping that she'd be pretty proud of where I am now.
For sure. Next question. Okay, Jake from Manchester. Next question is, where do you want to be in 10 years time from now?
Oh, definitely, absolutely stonking rich. Like, no, I guess I've always said that, like, I was born poor and I'll probably die poor, but I've always had enough money to live and enjoy myself. But there's always been points where I'm not able to do the things I want to do when I want to do them. So I guess in 10 years time, I want to be able to think about doing something without having the anxiety inside me telling me that I can't financially do it, or I can't put it together time-wise. You know, I want to be able to sit on my sofa with my partner and be like, should we book a holiday to go to, you know, Spain or go to Italy or something? And there's no anxiety of, oh, sure, you know, should we do it? Can we afford it? What's going to happen if we can't pay it? You know, like, it's just the anxiety that I get when thinking about doing anything. I'm like, oh, should I do this? I want to be able to have a life I've built where I can be like, I'm going to do this, and I don't have to worry about the consequences, because I've built the stability I need to do those things.
That's what I call a rich man. For sure, you're gonna be rich at this time.
yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm working hard enough, I think, to try and make the friends I need to make to, you know, have a good network of people around me who I can rely on, and hopefully they can rely on me, and build long-lasting friendships, and we can grow each other's businesses and ideas and explore together. That's my goal. I've always been like the sort of person that I want to see people succeed as much as I want to succeed myself.
I see. Amazing. Ready for another one?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Jake, before the next question, when I was checking your profile a little bit, I could see that you create a lot of content wearing rubber or leather, and I can see in your background there, like a few of them. Tell me, as if you could pick one of them, like to say, this one is my favorite, which one would be and why?
I mean, my favorite one actually broke yesterday. It's still in my bag. I've just it's this one, as you can see, there should not be a hole here. This is and then this is the other part of the zip, and there should not be a hole here, but there is a very big hole. It's split right up the middle. So that was, and it was pretty good suit. It was my favorite one. However, I'd say that my favorite one, business wise, would be my buddy suit, which is the sort of the singlet with the big green logo for the company on, which I love. It was custom made by Fetish Daddy Studios. They're amazing. They're based in London. They're really, really lovely people. I know the owners really well. They're really, really great people. And they made that for me. It was all custom measurements and stuff. It's brilliant. It's great for when I go out for functions and go to events and have to promote the company. But I'd argue that my favorite one right now is actually one of my partners that he got from a secondhand rubber site. And it's like a military sort of surf suit with stars on it. And I don't know why, I never would have thought I'd like something like that. But when I put it on, it just looks really good. I'm actually going to be wearing it tomorrow to an event. So yeah.
And when you do your contents, why leather and rubber? It's something that you like, it's a thing that you like, you always liked, or it's just for your business?
I think it's like a two-part thing. So like I've always been a bit of a sci-fi nerdy geeky person, and I find that leather anyway is just very sexy in itself. I've always been a big sort of leather uniform looking person. I do like the uniforms, but when it comes to rubber, is they're really creative and they're really futuristic. The shine of them, it's, you know, it's something that you wouldn't find in Victorian England, you know, people wearing rubber suits. It's just something very futuristic. So I like the futuristic aspect. But then there's a sort of a more sinister side of it where I because I'm so body conscious and I really don't like the body I have now. I've never really liked the bodies that I've transitioned through, from big to small to muscular to sort of chunky. Rubber is great at concealing that, and it hides your body, and you can manipulate your body into looking a certain way using rubber. So I would always say that I go for rubber over leather, but both have a way of making you look more broad and buff. And I do like the masculinity that leather can bring, and I like the sort of mysterious, it's like, I don't know what the word is, for shapes, just like it's the way it can make you form and fit, like with rubber, is brilliant.
I see. All right. Next question is, did you have imaginary friends as a child, and what was their name?
Full disclosure, I actually have a form of schizophrenia. So I had lots of imaginary friends, and I still do. So I was always that kid that would talk to their toys and would talk to random people and things there. And my mum was like, this is a bit odd for someone at the age of, like, you know, 10. But I got diagnosed and I have a form of schizophrenia. It's actually a complex form of schizophrenia. It's known, sort of, people know it more frequently as DID, but what I have is a form of DID, almost known as DOD, because DID can take a long time to be diagnosed. So like, I'm in the process of getting my full DID diagnosis, but I have DOD as of now. But they're roughly the same thing, except mine's like on a scale of 1 being you're completely fine, and, you know, 10 being you're completely out of control, you have no control of your symptoms. I'd say I'm a good 3, you know, like I'm very in control. I use therapy and years of like tactics on how to manage my mental health symptoms to work alongside like the voices that I hear in my head. And how to manage them, how to manage the ones that make me feel bad about myself, how to manage the ones that make me feel good about myself, because either or, you know, like you should always control both sides of things. It's always good to have a voice that's telling you you're great and amazing, but if you allow that voice to become overwhelming, you can become inflated and narcissistic and overconfident, and I don't want that for myself. So I've spent a long time practicing on what to ignore, when to listen, how to manage.
Do you remember their names, your imaginary friends, as a child or not?
Yes, Felix, Dominic, Adrian, Phoenix, and Dante.
My God, you remember so clearly.
Yeah, well, they all have their own personalities. So,
and besides let's say the trauma that you grew up as a child, besides that, how was growing up as a gay boy back in Wales or back in Scotland? You grew up?
It was near Scotland, more sort of Birmingham to Scotland. I've got a lot of family Birmingham, a lot of family Scotland. So
okay,
yeah. I would say it was all right. I don't remember a lot from childhood now. Like, that's part of the sort of trauma process, and the schizophrenia is like a degenerative disorder. Like, as more personalities are created, I forget a lot of things, and a lot of things are suppressed. But childhood wise, from what I can remember, for different memories. It was good, you know, like I enjoyed like my home life. I was quite lonely all through school. I had friends, and I, you know, like I did enjoy the friendship groups that I did have, but I was quite lonely. I was the only gay person in my school that I knew of at the time. And then a couple of other people came out, but they were like either older than me and not interested in being friends. And for them, they'd already progressed that mature factor of being gay is very sexual, and they see like a 14-year-old gay person wanting to be friends with them. They assume that I want to sleep with them, which was not the case. I needed to belong. So that was one of the reasons why the abuse started to begin, was because being a lonely gay person throughout school and not knowing other gay people, I looked to the internet for friends, and I found other gay men who took advantage of my age, and that's where the abuse began. So other than like that aspect and the pain, my childhood was fairly good, you know, like I had friends and I did do stuff and I had a standard sort of childhood. It was just a bit lonely, if not abusive, when the abuse did happen. But yeah, I reflect on it, and it's like I did enjoy a lot of my childhood.
Amazing. Next question, let's do it. By the way, I like this tattoo you have here in your face. What's the meaning of it?
Oh, it's a tattoo that a different sort of personality in essence got a while ago. And it's like a spiritual symbol for like a ancient Haitian sort of thing, and it's linked back to sort of like tribal heritage and things to do with Celtic things as well. It's weird, the X appears in a lot of Haitian voodoo and a lot of ancient Scottish magic. So it was just this thing of like, oh, get an X. I tell people a lot that it's to do with me selling my soul to the devil. I'm like, oh, I sold my soul. Like as a joke. But I just thought it looked pretty cool, like at the time. Yeah. And I still do today.
Absolutely. And how old? I was about to ask you, how old were you when you had this one? How old is this tattoo?
I actually got basically all of my tattoos last year and a bit from the year before. So I like last year and the year before that was probably the most progressive points in my life of doing new things and trying new things. So like it's when I started really working out and using PEDs and stuff. And I went abroad for the first time. I'd never been abroad. So I went to Berlin and Belgium, and I passed through France and stuff, so that was fun. I got my passport for the first ever time. So yeah, like it was just a thing of I wanted to do as many new things as possible.
Wow. Okay, next question for you is, what things do you consider to be relationship deal breakers?
Ooh, I don't know really. It's an interesting one. I guess my deal breaker is like narcissism, and like a lot of my ex-partners is they're like the sort of not like full narcissism in like a sense of like it's an actual diagnosis, because I've had boyfriends with that and it's hard to work with anyway for anyone, it be it a relationship or a friendship. But people who are very narcissistic and very selfish, like in relationships, I'm always there to listen as well as like tell them about things that are going on with me. And partners that are very like me orientated, they're like me, it's a big deal breaker because they're not mature. Like maturity, I think, is about having the ability to reflect on how other people are feeling and like have the empathy to see the world through someone else's eyes and try and like, if you understand someone's like story and where they've come from, and you know all the factors that can make someone, you know, uncomfortable or aggressive or something in a situation, you wouldn't be like, oh, you're making me uncomfortable because you're angry about this thing, because you'd know that person is, they're not angry because of their own fault with something that happened to them that's provoking that anger. So you have the maturity and the empathy to step back and be like, I know why my partner is feeling that way, so I'm not going to hold it against them that they've made me uncomfortable, because they can't control that they're uncomfortable, you know. And so people who lack empathy, that's a deal breaker, and they're not self-aware.
And for you, having a relationship, yeah, and also working, create adult content, it's a challenge, or it's about communicating and understanding and accepting?
Yeah. I mean, my partners are really good with the porn side of things. We talk about our jealousies and our problems and anything, you know, because we're human, we get jealous. And yeah, it all seems to work out well. Communication is the most important thing for me in a relationship. Absolutely.
3 questions left for you. Let's do
Great.
it. Next question is, what is the happiest day in your life so far, and why you consider that?
I don't know, actually. I'm not actually sure. I've had a lot of happy days, but not the happiest day of my life.
Tell me one of the latest one that you think, okay, that's one of the latest happiest day in my life.
Okay. I guess meeting my partner at an event recently, before we got together, and sort of getting to know them, that was a really nice experience. Like, just made me very happy to get to know them, and then moving in as well with them and having like to get to know each other and adjust to each other made me really happy. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if I have the happiest day of my life. I can't think of it. I mean, I went to London recently with one of my partners, and we had a really good experience for Christmas, if not a bit stressful, but that made me really happy. So yeah, it's difficult to pinpoint one of them, but there's been a lot of happy moments.
Amazing. 2 questions left. Let's do it.
Yep.
Okay, before the next one, I'm gonna ask a question. If you could work, like doing a collaboration with anyone in the world, let's say you have the superpower, you have to get this person to work together, who that would be?
Oh, it's difficult. There's quite a lot of people that I'd like to work with, but again, because I'm not really into sex, it would be from a business point of view, or from just because one of my favorite things about filming is that you get to discuss afterwards, and I always have chats with people afterwards, and 9 times out of 10 we talk about the industry and like how that they've worked to make themselves better, or what they do, or their business tactics. And I guess someone who I think would have a really good insight and be very interesting to talk to would be Austin Wolf, who I've spoke to like people around Austin Wolf's team and stuff before, and yeah, I'd like to work. And did I meet Austin Wolf? I spoke to Austin Wolf, but not enough to actually have a good conversation with him. But it was like a chance video meeting thing. He was there. I was like, oh, hello. But I would love to film with him and then sit down and talk to him. That would be the part that I'd be most excited for, is to sit and ask him, like, how did you build this business? How did you start For My Fans? Like, what's the process in going through it? Do you get as stressed out as I get stressed out? Because like, he is way more popular and famous and busy than I am, and way more successful, but like, I get stressed and I feel under a lot of pressure from what I do. But do you feel just as stressed? Like, it'd be nice to know what he's experiencing. So that's someone I'd like to meet more than I'd like to work with, I guess. Austin Wolf is a very influential figure in the porn industry, and I think it'd be interesting to meet. If I worked with him, I don't think I'm his type, but if I got to work with him, that would be just as good, because he is very attractive.
I'm gonna Google afterwards, okay, to see who he is.
Yeah, he's got a big tattoo on his stomach above his belly button, or just below his belly button. It's like a little tribal tattoo. It's he's very handsome with a lot of muscles.
Where he's from?
I believe he's American. I did a call with, I can't remember what team it was. There was a call with some team. I was talking, it was way back when I first started doing porn. I was trying to find studios to work with, and he was in the room with the people when the conference was happening, but I don't know why he was there, but he said hello and he seemed very friendly. And I think I was talking to someone who was a manager within For My Fans or something, but that was a lot of fun.
Hopefully he gonna watch this interview now. He's gonna contact you. You know what? I saw you in the Within the Magic Box. Now I'd like to do a collaboration with you. Imagine.
That would be brilliant. That would be amazing. I'd just love to meet him. I mean, hopefully I'll go to some award ceremony, or I'll be in America at some point and I'll bump into him and be like, do you remember saying hello to me once 2-3 years ago? But yeah, no, he seems like a really great guy.
Easy. Next question is, what have you learned during the first lockdown? When the world went upside down, what's the biggest positive impact that brought to your personal life?
Well, my experience with lockdown was completely unlike, I think, a lot of people's experiences, because I had spine surgery at the beginning of lockdown, sort of just a few months before we went into lockdown. COVID wasn't a really big thing at this point. It was happening. And I remember being in the Birmingham Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and they were building a COVID ward, like outside, like a tent sort of testing setup thing. And they were saying about how it's probably going to get busy. I had my surgery. I was in a giant room on my own, in a bed on my own. It was very strange. And I had surgery on my L4 to have it removed because my disc had prolapsed and been damaged. And I recovered in Wales, in the sort of farm area where I lived. It's very rural, lots of fields. And so lockdown happened. I was off work, so I was working a normal day job, and I was off work for my recovery anyway, but everywhere closed. And so I spent lockdown, all the time through lockdown, just walking every day around these fields, listening to podcasts, learning. I have a biochemistry degree, which I got throughout lockdown using the Open University. And I just spent all my time learning and getting to know myself and invested in nature, I guess. And I really, really became attached to nature. So, and I lost a lot more weight from that. I became extremely, very sickly, thin, to the point where I was definitely not eating enough. I think I was eating about 400 calories a day. So yeah, I was going through a good point where I was learning a lot and enjoying myself, but a bad point where I was basically starving myself and I was completely unaware of it.
See. Ready for the last question?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do it. Last question. Jake, before the last question, tell me, in your opinion, what's the biggest misconception that people has from people who create adult content?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions, I think, is that everyone is a walking disease, and everyone who is in a relationship and they, do sex work is their partners are jealous, or they're in unstable relationship, unfulfilled, unhappy, and that you're constantly getting sick from disease, getting STIs and stuff like that. In reality, most people who are in sex work and they're in relationships are quite committed and happy, and they see this as work. And when you get STIs, porn stars test regularly. I've got a test waiting for me downstairs, a postal test, which I'll be doing in a few days, because it'll be that 2-week point for cultivation and making sure that I'm safe to continue filming. And a lot of porn stars, or should I say professional porn stars, do that. Because there's a standard we want to maintain. We don't want to be the reason for someone getting sick. We don't want to be the reason for someone's life being ruined or hurt. In relationships, we talk about things, or at least I know the porn stars that are very happy in their relationships, we talk about things. But it's an industry that I think people assume they know. And it's definitely within the industry, I know it's divided. There's what we consider porn stars, and I'd consider myself a porn star. I have an established porn name. I work with studios. I have my own studio. I work alongside other actors who establish themselves. And then you have content creators, who are people who just use usernames. They don't have a porn name. They've just got a few social media accounts where they post nudes, and they have an OnlyFans. They're not really working with studios, or maybe they do 1 or 2 studio films every now and then. They're not really establishing themselves. And it's normally those are the ones who are having sex first, and then it's a business second. Whereas for a lot of people like myself, it's a business first, and then it's sex second. Yeah.
Thanks for explaining that. I think it's it's good to have this understanding as well, for sure.
Yeah.
Last question for you is, what's the best advice have you ever received?
Best advice?
Yeah.
Ooh. I guess it would be from my friends. A lot of different people have told me this, but I'll name drop a few people. My friend Ronnie Stone, who is Mickey Taylor's partner, and he runs Cavalcade Club in Manchester. Very big on the queer sort of aesthetic party scene. Very amazing porn actor, or former porn actor. And Axel Abyss, again, big porn actor. They both have advised me to take breaks and don't burn out, because when you burn out, you don't come back from it the same as you as when you left and when you burn out. I've burnt out a couple of times where I've completely broke down and lost things, and when you come back from it, you aren't really the same, and you don't see the world the same. Everything is a little bit different, and it's harder to get back on your feet. So take breaks regularly, and enjoy your work. When you start to feel your work isn't very enjoyable, slow down and be honest with people, and just tell them, I'm not having a good time. I don't want to make films right now. I want to be safe. Sort of just take time.
When you say burnout, it means like you got too tired of working too much.
Yeah, like breaking down.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Right, it's not the end yet. Okay, let's play now the word association game. I'm going to give away some words and you just tell one word that comes to your mind quickly, okay?
Sure.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Let's start with money.
Freedom.
One word for family.
Happiness.
Love.
Support.
Life.
Death.
How about sex?
Pain.
Politics.
Frustration.
Religion.
It's a hard one. I want to say ignorance, but that's not right because it's not ignorance. I guess from my experience, ignorance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fear.
Loss.
Friendship.
Pain.
Desire.
I'm not sure. Pass.
Okay.
No word came to mind.
Regret.
Reflection.
Say again?
Reflection.
Reflection. Success.
Strength.
Wish.
Gin.
I'm a genie in the bottle.
Yeah.
One word for happiness.
One word for happiness. Love. Just being in love.
One word for Manchester.
Community.
One word for England.
Struggle.
One word for porn star.
Commitment.
Amazing. Okay, let's pretend now I'm going to meet your lovely partner for coffee, and I'm going to ask your partner, what is the most beautiful thing about Jake, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What he would say?
The first one would be like, he's a pain in the ass, and he needs to be more aggressive and less trusting, I would say. And then the other one would probably say that I'm perfect, but I need to probably make more time for myself.
Interesting. And if I would ask the same question to your mom, would be the same answer?
My mum would probably say, stop letting people walk all over you. Because yeah, that's what I mean by she's very one-track minded, that she doesn't understand the cycle of you have to let people take stuff from you to get stuff back eventually. It doesn't always have to be an instant transaction, whether it be mentally or physically. You have to use trust to exchange things in this world when you're building connections. And I think my mum sees what I do sometimes, and she's like, you've given, but you've not received. And I'm like, in time, I will. And then she'll be like, well, you're just letting people walk all over you. And I have to remind her that's not how it works. But she's very much, if you're going to give, you must receive, like, so yeah, she'd tell you that I get walked all over.
It's just a very protect mom. That's why it's very protective.
Definitely. Oh yeah, it comes from a place of love and protecting. Yeah, absolutely.
And the most beautiful thing about you, what she would say?
Oh, I don't know. Not sure. Probably my mind. Yeah.
Cool. Let's play now, Jake and the Magic Box, and you can ask me a question. But okay, Jake, you can ask me a question now.
This is a good question that I wanted to ask you. I've been wanting to ask you actually since we started speaking. What provoked your curiosity in people to want to get to know people the way you do?
Wow. I'll tell you something now. I had over 800 interviews on the show so far, and no one asked me this question yet. What?
Really?
Yes, amazing. So let me see if I understood. What you just asked, what provokes me attention in other people? Overall.
Yeah, your curiosity in people, certain people, because you could scroll through anyone's Explorer on Instagram or Twitter and find any random person, but you must look at certain people and be like, I want to speak to them. What provokes that curiosity inside you?
I love the question. I love the question. And the answer is what I like, what gets my attention straight away. It's about when I see the people, they are being themselves. When they are, you can see through their pictures or through their words or through their desires, how they express themselves. You can see that it's real. It's something about themselves. So that's for me. When I, even overall my life, on my normal days, people who get my attention, those people that I can see that they're being themselves. If I go to social media, even for the channel as well, when I go on the channel and I see, I have a briefly look in their profile, but if I spot something unique or something, I don't know, it's so interesting, the question, because through those long interviews I've done so far, all of them, I feel like it meant to happen for some reason. You know what I mean? Because there was something there. For example, when I approached you online and you replied back and we start our connection there, I knew that would be something that would contribute to the world or to people or to for me or for you as well, something that would come along. You know what I mean? Could be anything. Maybe we even don't know what it is about, but maybe we will understand somehow or another time. But yes, what I get my attention about people overall, it's about when they are promoting, when they promote themselves like in a real way, like they are being real, they are being
their authenticity.
Absolutely, because nowadays, with the modernity, with social media, there are a lot of people selling perfectionism, which does exist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I understand that's what gets attention. That's what people likes. I understand that it's a business, but at the same time as well, there are so many people out there just expressing themselves. They want to, just show who they are. And I think that's for me what gets my attention straight away. It's about people expressing the way they are. That's for me is fascinating because somehow there is a lot to learn from those people because they just want to be themselves, and it's so fascinating to see people expressing the way they are. It doesn't matter how. It could be about anything. It could be something even that we are not, let's say, familiar with, or something that maybe we don't have too much, how do you say, too much information about it, knowledge. But there's something there that they want to share, they want to promote, or they want to connect with people, and that for me is it's something that my eyes go there straight away. That's for me the answer.
Yeah. Amazing. That's brilliant. That's really brilliant. I love that. I'd argue that I'm very similar. That I find, I really value authenticity in people. Like, to be authentic is to be vulnerable, but I think people weigh up vulnerability as, vulnerability is suicidal, in a sense that, like if you're vulnerable in the world, then you're just open to being manipulated. But I think the people who know they can be vulnerable and can control that they're not going to be manipulated and easily sort of taken advantage of, they're the ones who are the most authentic themselves.
Absolutely. And I think the way is keep being yourself. It doesn't matter if people are gonna like or whatever. Be yourself. Keep being yourself, because the right people is gonna spot it and somehow it's gonna connect with us. That's what I believe as well.
Yeah.
And I must say, when I was checking your profile, one of the pictures that got my attention, it was you were wearing a blue color. I think I can see on the back there, like a blue color. Was a store or something? I was like, oh, that's a good gear that you were wearing. I liked it.
Thank you. I actually wore that one yesterday for a shoot, so those photos will be up on Instagram at some point around the time of Darklands, which will be in March.
You see, and I just like it. The color somehow match with the way you're talking or the way you express yourself. I don't know. It just got my attention straight away. Jake, did you have a good time? Did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I've not had an interview before, so this is interesting.
Amazing. Before you go, if you can share a positive message, something that you live by.
Ooh, I thought about this because I remember you saying about leaving sort of an inspirational message at the end, and I wanted to joke about it because the last time I was asked this question, I always quote Patsy Stone from Ab Fab, where she's like, "You can never have enough glove, hats, or shoes." But if I was being serious, I would probably say the best piece of advice I could give to anyone, or the greatest inspirational thing I ever heard, was a Mark Twain quote, which was, "Your dead for millions of years before you're born. So what happens after you die is inconsequential. So you live for now.
Wow, amazing. I love that. Jake, thanks so much, and good luck with your projects, with your business, and you keep in touch. It was a pleasure to have you on the show, okay? Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Amazing.
Take
See you
care.
later.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.